Here's the one I wanted to see. Rumor: Christopher Nolan in discussions to direct a pair of James Bond movies. Now, this would be a really strong way to start the series, right? Great actor, great director, and it's got to be I want it to be a James Bondable actor, right? Which means, hate to tell you, white bloke. You know, James Bond comes from an aristocratic family, which were all white. I'm sorry. Once you make him black, he's a fundamentally different character. Not saying that you can't have a woman or a black guy be a kick-ass spy. We see that many times over. In fact, that Al Ghul movie looked freaking awesome, right? I'm just saying the character of James Bond is a white bloke. I'm sorry. It's a white English bloke. And you know what? I even the Daniel Craig one with was it not Spyfall, which I thought was excellent, where it hinted he was bi, right? Or he's had gay sex before, right? With there's a lot of sexual tension between him and Javier Bardem, right? I thought was actually quite interesting, right? It actually lent into the weird public school, posh world that Bond comes from, right? Don't make him gay, but he has to be misogynistically straight. But like that little hint in Spyfall, I actually felt was quite good, right? And look, basically, I'm a progressive guy, which is weird, but having a directorial vision and doing two of them sounds like a really good idea, right? I mean, having said that, Christopher Nolan hasn't done a good movie really for a long time, but he can have. I mean, he can handle the action. Inception, Dark Knight, Oppenheimer. They just don't do a 3-hour Bond movie about congressional hearings. The new rumor claims that Oppenheimer, Dark Knight, and Inception director Christopher Nolan in discussions to direct at least 2 new James Bond films. The rumor comes from Jordan Ruimi at the World of Real, who reports the source informed him that James Bond producer Barbara Broccoli is zeroing in on Nolan. I mean, it's a great choice. He really, I mean, as long as he doesn't do anything long and ponderous and leans into, I mean, look at those great James Bondian sequences from Inception, right? Especially the snow sequence, which I thought was fantastic. Not only is she zeroing in, but she's brought in discussions from filmmaker to helm the film. However, due to the strike, Nolan's promotion of Oppenheimer, they did not strike a deal yet. As part of the discussion, Nolan is expected to direct and write 2 films. Nolan's no stranger to discussion about James Bond while promoting Oppenheimer on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. Broke the subject of Bond, informing him, the director, that $20 says you're going to direct the next James Bond film. Nolan responded, I love those movies. The influence on those movies in my filmography is embarrassingly apparent. But man, they're done so much better, right? They're done so incredibly stylistic. Man, I want to watch Inception again now. That is a great movie. I keep meaning to rewatch Tenet. I'm sure there's an interesting movie in there. I can just work out what the hell's going on. Like, I imagine it's kind of like Westworld, which if you crack into it, it's incredibly rewarding. I love those movies. The influence of those movies, embarrassing apparent. So there's no attempt to shy away from that. I love the films. It would be amazing privilege to do one. Okay, you continue saying, at the same time, when you take on a character like that, you're working with a particular set of constraints, and you have to have the right attitude towards that. Good, you're saying the right things. Like, be faithful to it. It has to be in the right moment in your career and your life where you can express what you want to express and really borrow into something that within the appropriate constraints, because you'll never want to take on something like that or do that sort of thing wrong. It's the kind of same responsibility I felt very much taking on Batman. And look, his Batman wasn't a non-traditional Batman, but like, man, did it work well. All right, Batman Begins, I still say, is probably perhaps the strongest Batman movie. The best cinematic Batman still Ben Affleck, right? In the Zack Snyder verse. But but of movies that were actually made, I would say Batman Begins. It's got a beginning, middle, and end, right? And it's about something, right? And it also has a spectacle. Nolan elaborated, you wouldn't want to take on a film that you're not fully committed on what you could bring to the table creatively. So the writer is so as writer casting, or everything that's the full package. The only thing is, I just learned from Mission Impossible 7 and 8, right? Making them, it just didn't work. Breaking into two movies. Unfortunately, I thought it would do. I mean, they're both these movies, but for a movie to work, it needs a beginning, middle, and end. You can't cut it in the middle. Which beginning Mission Impossible is basically the beginning and half, beginning and the middle, beginning and half of a movie. He said, but no, I sort of stand with the previous answer, which is you have to be really needed. Oh, that's interesting. You have to really be really wanted in terms of bringing the totality of what you want to bring to character. Otherwise, I'm very happy to be the first in line to see whatever they do. Okay, is this a comic book or is this it looks like a comic book? Interesting, the idea of Nolan wanting to take the film and its totality appears to be a significant hiccup in negotiations. Rumley details the main issue right now seems to be the amount of creative freedom Nolan wants for the film. Well, again, he's a star director. And again, man, here's what you need to do with the Bond universe. I've told you this many times before, right? Very good Bondable Bond, right? Traditional Bond. If it's very important for you to have a black spy and a woman spy, introduce them all in the same movie and spin off the black spy, so you get a movie every 3 years. The woman spy, you get a movie 3 years, and Bond, you get a movie every 3 years, right? And it's you always have something going on in the same universe. I would also have some TV show based around M and Moneypenny. I mean, I like the Skyfall Moneypenny, the recent one. I can't remember her name. I thought she was very good, right? And I think you could have had a really good show based around everybody, all the MI6 supporting characters. At the same time, I would do some like movie of the week sort of thing, made for streaming of very novel, accurate adaptations, right? Set in the 50s and the 60s. If discussion fall apart, the Broccoli really gives carte blanche to filmmakers, but usually the blueprint on how to make Bond. But Nolan wants to take over the entire process. Well, again, I understand that, but you're gonna have to get Broccoli's thumbs up on everything, and probably Amazon as well now. If discussion fall apart, Broccoli does have a number of backups in the wings room. He reveals there's Danny Boyle, who was going to do the last one, apparently. Dennis Villeneuve, don't think he's a great fit. I also want Dennis Villeneuve to do a third Dune movie, right? Dune Messiah. That would be freaking awesome. With Jason Momoa coming back as Duncan Idaho. Oh, God, I would love that. Paul Greengrass, again, very derivative. Yeah, that's because of the Bourne movies. Nolan previously detailed how he was in discussion with Broccoli and fellow Bond producer Michael D. Wilson back in 2017. Are you still tempted by the prospect of doing your own James Bond or Star Wars movie? A Bond movie, definitely. I've spoken to producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael D. Wilson over the years. I deeply love the character. That's central, right? I think that's why Skyfall worked, and it was so non-traditional because it had what's the name? Mendes, was it? Yeah, his love of Bond was palpable through it, right? And sadly, Spectre was supposed to be the super traditional one, and it was just kind of boring. They could have cut about 30 minutes from it, and it would have been much stronger. And No Time to Die, you should have stripped out that the whole Madeline Snow, whatever backstory with the villain, which didn't really come through, and make a mini-series out of that for streaming, right, for Amazon. Then you would have had a much more tight movie. Also, it was designed for Lashana Lynch to take over the role of Bond and have a gun barrel sequence at the end. And you can tell that was the heart of the movie, and it was taken out of it. And that's how the movie kind of flounders. Same with Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. It was clearly designed for Phoebe Waller-Bridge to become Indiana Jones, and they saw what a terrible idea that was and stripped it out in the edit, and you got a meaningless, empty movie. That's what we're saying. Maybe one day that would work out. Well, excited to see what they do. Maybe one day that will work out. We have to be needed if you know what I mean. It has to be a reinvention. It has to need you, and they're getting along very well. Yeah, well, I don't think they are getting along very well, but I think that would really. I think that'll be a good idea, right? I think this will be a very good idea. I would like to see that go down. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.